All right, let's do a different example here. Solve by completing the square. I would like to do a full example with you. So here we go. Solve by completing the square. What you'll notice is we could bring the 5 over and make it negative. We could make this x, right? Okay. Problem is you're not going to be able to factor it because you're not going to be able to find two numbers that multiply to -5 and add to 8. It just doesn't work, right? So there's not a factoring option. There is a quadratic formula option that we'll look at a little later. But here's what happens if you want to complete the square. We need x squared plus 8x. Now remember I was saying you take that middle term 8 to get this perfect square that we just did in the last video. So I take that 8, I divide it by 2, and I square it. So 8 divided by 2 is 4, and 4 squared is 16. So I'm going to actually say this is plus 16 here. Now the problem is, what I did was I added a 16 right here, right? I need to add a 16 on the other side, because you can't just add a 16 on one side, not add it on the other side for balance. And again, remember this little one, and take the 8, which is that term in front of the x, 8 divided by 2 squared, so 4 squared is 16, and that's how I got the 16. Okay? So here we go. We have x squared plus 8x plus 16 equals 21. Right? So now we have a perfect square. Let's step away there for a little second. Okay. All right. So now if we take the, if we factor this, it's going to be 2 brackets equaling 21. Okay. And that's going to be plus 4 and plus 4. Two numbers that multiply to 16 add to 8. So we can write this as x plus 4 squared equals 21. And we knew we were going to get that, x plus 4 squared, or x, like this bracket squared. That was the whole purpose of doing this, to create the 16 to complete the square. Okay? The reality is this is not 0, so we can't just say x is -4 because this has to equal 21. But we can take the square root now. Okay? Just use a little different color here. We can take the square root of both sides. And if you remember, we talked a little bit about that earlier. If we do that, then this is just x plus 4, but this is plus or minus the square root of 21. All right, plus or minus the square root of 21. So now our next step, we need to get x by itself, is to bring the 4 to the other side. So x equals plus 4 becomes -4 when we move it over. Not only that, we put it at the front, -4 plus or minus the square root of 21. Okay? And that gives us our answer. Okay? So there are really just two options. Okay? So in our solution set, right, we have a -4 minus the square root of 21, or -4 plus the square root of 21. Okay? And that's our two solutions to this problem. And what we've done is we've solved by completing the square. Right? See you in a bit.